Alright people, so here we go. We got our 2019 Commander Max 800R, and this was the one with the engine fire, and I've rebuilt about everything, got about $1,500 in parts, and it runs great, except for that it overheats. And after working on trying to get it burped and the coolant lines vacuumed, I couldn't get it done, and actually replaced the radiator as well. Still wasn't working, and I was just putting water in the coolant line, and then I finally found water, or milky oil, which means I'm leaking coolant into the engine somewhere. So now today we're going to pop off these valve covers and the cylinder heads and see what we got. Alright, we'll have to clean this out, but you can see in that timing cover right there all that milky oil. It's like a sludge. Pretty nasty. Alright, so next thing we need to do is get this thing to TDC. What we need to do here is, on this guy, we have this mark right here, and then we have this mark right here, and those need to be parallel with the bottom here. So we need to take the little crankshaft cover bolt off, which is right here, and I think that's a 14 mil. And then we should be able to get a socket in there to turn the engine clockwise. So let's get that going. Okay, after much fiddle faddle, I had to take this passenger rear pan out, at least enough to move it. There's 4 clips in the back, you know, right along here. There's 2 long 10 millimeters here, 4 10 millimeters there. Then I also had to remove the anchors for the passenger seat, and those were a little bit of a pain because I had to move the gas tank to get in, the wrench to get in there. And they have Loctite on them, so you got to have something good and strong to pull those out. So after I got those out, and I got these out, then we can move the pan, get to the hole, turn the crankshaft, and now over here we can turn it, and we turn it clockwise, and we can see we have our 2 lines right here and right here parallel, and you kind of feel it too because there's no compression on there anymore. And now we're going to go ahead and take the cam chain tensioner off, which is right here. And on my side, when I had to build this back up, this was melted and I had to put a new one in, but I had to cut about a 1/4 inch of it off to actually get it to slide in above that transmission. So we'll take that off, and it is tight, it works fine. I mean, it's not loose at all. So we'll take the tensioner off, and then I think I might go ahead and take these off, take the cam chain off so it's loose, and we're going to hang that up a little bit so we don't lose it off the crankshaft, and then we'll go ahead and take the head bolts off. All right. Well, maybe I don't have to put this. Get this chain. Back on there. I guess we'll pull out that tensioner there. Pull out that sleeve. Let's get this chain out of the way. Sticky fingers. All right, that head gasket looks fine all the way around. Don't see any place where it's broken. So I guess our issue is going to have to be on this guy. So let's take a break and we'll pull him out and see what happens. See what it looks like. There's no up and down play, but there is some decent side to side play. That rear cylinder is TDC, right? And those marks on the camshaft were parallel with the head. And now if we look at this front cylinder, these lines, it's not TDC, these are up at the top. TDC would be down here parallel with this bottom line, but they are level with the ground. So that's how you can tell the difference between both pistons. So now we'll turn this guy clockwise a little bit and we'll get him to TDC. Let's see. All right. It's going nicely. The whole thing's going all right. This is our problem child right here. And I'll show you why in just a second. Let me go ahead and get this off. And we'll see where it really is. Let's take that guy out. There you go. Timing chain. Tight. Alright, now if we look at that rear cylinder, and see he's blackened all up. The front cylinder, he's all nice and clean. That's because he's been burning water. I don't know if that was like that before or not, but I could, but there's no... See, is there any water down that direction? Certainly would be. There you go. So it's a head gasket right there. I'd say that's a pretty good chance that's the problem that we had. I don't know why they would have popped coming out in any other way. And this is the one that's got the problem. Rings are not stuck, but feel pretty loose, but I got new rings. Let's see, side to side. Side to side's about the same as the other one. I have to look at a spec. Up and down is good. All right, here we go. This is the rear cylinder. Let's clean it up. Still have the gasket on this side, so it's probably a good thing I take this thing all the way off anyway, or ended up doing it. Should I say thank you for a blown head gasket? Because if we go in here and look at it some more, these pieces right in here, let's see, are all full of that melted plastic from when it caught on fire. Let's get a little screwdriver here. And we can just, it's actually even just like a film. Almost like a saran wrap or something. So it's really thin. Alright, so we got the valve heads taken care of. And the cylinders over there and over there. Alright guys, so we got the top ring in and the second ring, and now we're putting the oil scraper ring in. And there's no top and bottom for the oil scraper, but on the first and second one there are letters on them, and you want them on the top. These actually did say top. Okay, after plenty of fiddle faddle, I found that you put the oil scraper in first, which is that brass corrugated one, and then I could put the top and bottom rings on top on there. So, all right guys, I apologize. My voice bad. Been sick for like a week and a half. I quit messing with this because I couldn't get the rings on.
and I ended up buying a ring compressor. I tried using one of these guys, putting some milk jug in there, and I could not get it in. It just wasn't working for me, so I ended up going and buying a ring compressor, and then I had to cut it in half because it was too tall to get out from like right here. So I just got this one on.
Alright, after way too many attempts, I got it on. Alright, right there's 2. That is right on. Okay, so 2 is on. Our lines are parallel with the cylinder head, and there's a vertical piece cut off the cam that's perfect right there, so we're good to go. So now we have these other 3 screws that go into the cam, and these need that Loctite on them. Alright, so we got this guy on, and I missed turning TDC for the first cylinder, the front cylinder, so these 2 lines right here were initially parallel with the cylinder head, and now they're parallel to the ground while the first cylinder is at TDC. And so we're good there. So now we go ahead and put the other valve cover on and the timing chain. After the new piston rings, I'm looking at a loss of 20% on each cylinder before the rings have really seated really well. Prior to that, I was at 35%. My compression is still at 100 psi, but it still needs a number of different start and stops, warming up, cooling down cycles before those rings get seated well on cylinders. I'd recommend getting the Mr. RPM flywheel lock and the cam lock, as you can still be off 1 or 2 degrees setting it up, and that'll help lock it in. I didn't record putting everything back together. If you took it all apart, you should have a good idea how to do that. After I got everything together and I first started turning it over, it took about 3 to 5 seconds for it to spark up for all that gas to get flowing in there, but then it just started running great. I hope this was helpful. We'll see you guys later.